Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, let me introduce myself. My name is Reza Sifarimansa from Management Class 23B, and in here I will explain about sampling methods and distribution, the pillar of statistical inference. So let's get started. Sampling methods and distribution, the pillar of statistical inference. Sampling methods and distribution are at the heart of statistical analysis, providing the tools and concepts needed to draw meaningful conclusions about population based on smaller, more manageable subsets of data. Together, these concepts form the foundation of statistical inference and a manageable subset of data, enabling research to analyze data, test hypotheses, and make predictions with confidence. In real-world scenarios, collecting data from an entire population is often impractical or impossible due to constraints of time, cost, or logistics. Sampling over of solution by allowing researchers to study a representative subset of the population, the patterns and characteristics observed in the sample can then be generalized to the broader population, provided the sampling methods is carefully chosen and properly executed. Complementing this is the study of distribution, which describes how data values are spread or organized within a sample or population. Understanding distribution is crucial for interpreting data and assessing the reliability of statistical conclusions. Next is the concept of sampling in statistical analysis. Sampling is the process of selecting a subset of individuals, items, or observations from a larger population in order to estimate population characteristics. The population represents the entire group of interest, while the sample serves as a microsomes that reflects the key feature of the population. The quality of statistical inference depends heavily on the sampling method used, as different methods vary in their ability to produce representative sample. A fundamental goal of sampling is to reduce bias and variability in the data while maintaining efficiency. By occurs when certain groups or characteristics within the population are systematically over or underrepresented in the sample, leading to distorted conclusion. Variability, on the other hand, refers to the natural difference that arises between samples drawn from the same population. Both bias and variability can be minimized by employing robust sampling techniques and ensuring proper implementation. Next is types of sampling methods. Sampling methods can be broadly categorized into probability sampling and non-probability sampling. Probability sampling relies on random selection, ensuring that every member of the population has a known and equal chance of being included in the sample. This randomness reduces bias and allows researchers to calculate sampling errors and confidence intervals, making probability sampling the gold standard for statistical analysis. Non-probability sampling, in contrast, does not involve random selection. While it is often easier and more cost-effective to implement, it is more prone to bias and does not allow for the same level of statistical rigor as probability sampling. However, it is still widely used in exploratory research, qualitative studies, and statistical scenarios where random sampling is infeasible. Probability sampling techniques Simple random sampling is the most basic and widely used. It involves selecting individuals or items from the population entirely at random, ensuring that each member has an equal likelihood of inclusion. Stratified sampling is another method where the population is divided into subgroups or strata based on shared characteristics, and samples are drawn from each strata. This approach ensures that the sample reflects the diversity of the population. Systematic sampling involves selecting every member of the population after an initial random start, while cluster sampling divides the population into clusters and randomly select entire cluster for study. Multi-stage sampling combines elements of these methods, allowing research to tackle large and complex population in a structured and efficient manner. Non-probability sampling methods include convenience sampling, where samples are drawn based on ease of access, and judgmental or purposive sampling, where research use their expertise to select participants who are most likely to provide relevant information. Snowball sampling, often used in social research, relies on participants to recruit others, creating a chain-like network of inclusion. While these methods are less rigorous, they can still provide valuable insight in certain contexts. Next is the importance of sampling in research. Sampling is indispensable in research because it makes the study of large population feasible. By analyzing a well-chosen sample, research can obtain reliable estimates of population parameters without the need for exhaustive data collection. This is particularly important in fields such as healthcare, economics, and environmental science, where populations are vast and data collection can be costly or time-consuming. Sampling also enables researchers to control and focus their studies, reducing the complexity of data analysis while maintaining statistical accuracy. It allows for experimentation and hypothesis testing by providing manageable data sets that can be analyzed within a reasonable time frame. In addition, sampling facilitates ethical research practice by minimizing the burden on participants and avoiding unnecessary use of research. So next is distribution, the framework for understanding data. Once a sample is collected, the next step is to analyze the data, and this is where distribution comes into play. A distribution describes how data values are spread across the range of possible outcomes. It provides a visual or mathematical representation of the frequency with which different values occur, allowing research to identify patterns, trends, and anomalies. Distribution can take many forms, but they are generally classified into discrete and continuous types. Discrete distributions describe data that take on specific, separate values such as the number of defective items in a batch or the number of customers visiting a store in a day. Examples of discrete distribution include the binomial and Poisson distribution, which model probabilities in situations involving counts or categorical outcomes. Continuous distribution, on the other hand, describe data that can take on any value within a given range, such as height, weight, or temperature. The normal distribution, often referred to as the bell curve, is one of the most widely recognized continuous distribution. It is systematic, with most data point clustering around the mean, and its shape is determined by the mean and standard deviation of the data. So, that's all from me. Thank you for listening. See you and goodbye.